Yeah, so just reflecting on a couple of weird days, really. And I haven't done a YouTube live post for a while. Try and keep it positive, but sometimes it's hard. So, don't know if you know, but my original glasses that are used as prop, well, real glasses, but often used as prop glasses as well, broke right in the middle. These are my old ones, like really old, but modern old. And they're not reproductions because of the corners, but they look very similar, but not suitable on set. So yeah, they snapped right at the middle just after I bought my wife some new glasses she needed, um, as she's getting a bit older. And literally half an hour after we fixed that problem, my glasses snapped in the middle and fell off my face while we were shopping. Um, so for food. And I have such a look with those style of glasses, like the Butler, which was a lot of fun to film, even though I had the flu when I was doing it. Um, that's out now, so I'll have to share that on YouTube. A little commercial I did, but I used my original glasses, and if that product sells well and that firm, which is a startup, does well, there should hopefully be a series of commercials where I can have a main role in it carrying forward. I'm quite proud of the work we did on that. The whole crew and the other actor. Everybody gelled really well, and I literally had the flu when I was doing it, so I was actually vomiting that morning. Um, Felt really rough, and everyone was really lovely. Young crew, but very, very, yeah, very keen to work hard to gel, and they did. So that was a privilege. That's one of the highlights. That when this job's working well, even when you're really sick, you wouldn't normally go into a normal job. It's the sort of thing. We're talking about reliability here, aren't we? So I know as a filmmaker myself how hard it is to get locations, to secure them, all the permissions you need to go through. And they'd spent ages trying to get this location of a house in East London um, that suited the shoot. And then I woke up that morning vomiting. So it's not because of nerves. I actually did have the flu. So I had the choice to ring up and say, no, I can't do it. And glad I didn't, because when I turned up, they had like 8 crew there. So all those people there would have had to have cancelled and paid for and then reschedule. It's a lot of money. A lot of money for a small unit, independent, their first commercial that they're making. And I got that job through word of mouth, through networking, based on the training I do. Um, so they know I was a trainer, but also knew I was an actor. So, yeah, I like what they did. Good job they did on the commercial, as far as shooting this and the storyline and stuff. So that's just come out the last couple of weeks. My book's come out. So these are all positives. The negatives, so people are dropping out because I haven't got to the negatives yet. But it's unreliable. Not individuals, but the industry is really unreliable. So, the last time I spoke to you publicly was, I'd been to a costume fitting, blah, 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 goes well. Well, today was the shoot. You notice I'm not on set because I'm in my car. I was about to drive home. So what happens? Well, I was also booked for something tomorrow with my wife as a couple, another high budget production. Specifically wanted us as a couple for a particular thing to do coupley things on set. And I even got an email from the intimacy coordinator making sure we're all okay with it. So yeah, and that email came through yesterday. And we're filming this Saturday. And I'm filming this other reduction, which I had the costume fitting for today. So I said to my wife, right, I've got a 6 o'clock call time, and it's an hour and a half to get there. and an hour and a half to get home, and then peak rush hour is 2 hours. So if I'm going all that way, I'm likely to wrap like 5, 6 o'clock at night, might even be 8, because traditionally the film industry days are 14, 16 hours, which is fine because you get paid per hour, but they're also very exhausting and you need a day to recover sometimes. So is it worth it? Don't know. What are your thoughts? So, but I can't see anyone in the chat. I don't even think chats come up here on YouTube Live, because I haven't seen one for a wee while. But anyway, so I said to my wife, rather than go back and forth, and with the Middle East war, with all the fuel prices, I know there's a lot more. I'm not going into politics, but you know, fuel prices are going through the roof, and yet I still have to travel ages just to get an income. And I wish I didn't have to. So I said, well, let's stay over, you know. So we planned half the day, packing, she did. I last minute had an audition through my agent, which is great, for a car commercial. So, which I did, and I can't share that because it's confidential, because it's their script. But if I don't get it, then I can always publicize it. And if I do get it, then I'll show you the commercial. I've done about probably surplus of 30 auditions in the last year or 2 years, and haven't got one of them. So I don't hold out hope, and that's part of being a jobbing actor, is you spend days, well, it was all day yesterday because there's 4 scenes to do. Plus, of course, you get all tidy and ready and stuff, and dressed and dress appropriately for the part. A driver, professional driver for a wealthy family for this commercial. So we did that, and out of all the auditions, that was quite good, because they said you've got till Monday, and we found out, what day is it today? Today's Friday, is it Thursday? Found out Wednesday. So that's actually good notice in the acting world for auditions. Sometimes it's like it's due in 2 days' time. Okay, so this whole conversation topic today is about scheduling and reliability as an income for the industry. So if you've got another job, you're usually too busy to fit these things in. And so it's really hard to survive in the film industry without another job, and I'll get to that point. So, so thankfully I had time, but I knew I was filming today, so I wouldn't be able to do it today. I was filming Saturday, wouldn't be able to do it Saturday. If I've done 2 12, 14-hour days back to back, I will not have the energy to do, the emotional energy to do a role on the Sunday, because I know this is just normal. You're wiped, it comes across on your face. There's nothing you can do if you've got no energy. And it was due Monday morning. So I did it yesterday, wiped myself out doing it yesterday, but knowing background doesn't take as much energy. And so I had to cut it together because there's 4 films and some needed close-ups, wide shots and stuff. And I'm an experienced editor, and it's interesting. Actors more and more have to put more and more work into self-taping, when it's actually the acting skill really that we're looking for, not your cinematography skills. And I get that, you know, it's an international one, so they can't, it's cheaper for them basically, you know, saves on the miles. You send all these tapes off, and they can see more people really this way. They can actually see more people than having to host auditions in London. So in some ways it's more convenient. Anyway, whole day of that. So I said to my wife, right, we've done that, we've got 2 days of filming, let's stay over so there's none of this back and forthing. The chat is working. Ezekiel the first says hi. Jahari King says hi. Okay, I just thought it didn't work because no one chatted last time, so it's still working. So yeah, so oh, it's all gone away. I can't respond to the chat, that's all. Can I? Oh, I can. No, I can just see the messages. Okay, so that's that. And so, yeah, so this morning, 6 o'clock call time. That's fine. You get paid early call, extra. So we all planned it, finished sending off my audition tapes just after 10 o'clock last night. It takes about an hour and a half to get to location. Then last minute they said, right, okay, it's now 6:30 call time. But you still have to be there half an hour earlier for the bus to take you from the car park to the studio, which is why I'm in Abbots Langley, because that's where the car park was. You don't get paid for that travel time. So we come in half an hour earlier, but get paid half an hour later. In the old days, I've been doing this for decades, you actually got signed in when you got on the bus. And it only just occurred to me today when somebody asked, has it always been like this? And I said, no, it hasn't. You know, you did used to get signed in on the bus. Particularly if there's a bit of a trip ahead of you. So we turned up. I got up at 4 in the morning. I didn't get much sleep, never do when you got an early call. Easy drive, though even at 5:15 in the morning on M25, there's 40 miles an hour traffic. I don't even understand how that happens. Like this, but I still got there on time, got on the bus, get in, rush us through breakfast, immaculate costume and makeup, and you can see the trims my moustache. It's the 1930s. It's very, very dapper. And so they get us all, you know, and they spent half an hour on my hair just putting like curls in and stuff like that, like drawing in waves in the side of my hair, like 1930s. Real proper, very smooth. Put us through costume designer comes down, immaculate. There's only 20 of us. By the way, I forgot to say, my wife rightly said this morning, I don't see the point of going all the way there to hang about in Abbots Langley for a day, waiting for you to come off set, to stay the night because we're filming the next day, rather than me go all the way back to Kent, because I was going to try and save fuel. We'd be spending it on the hotel, and I thought it'd be a nice trip away, but to be fair, it wouldn't be nice for her just wandering about in the cold. So I said, okay, fair enough, I've got to go. So we did our bit. 30 minutes. That's it. 30 minutes we're on set. After all this mad rush, get them in, get them onto set. 30 minutes. And then they wrapped us. We did scanning. So scanning is when they scan you as a 360, which means they can use our image only for, thankfully the contract's out only for this film. It's a high-end, big budget, you know, series, you know, it's such and such 5 or whatever it is. Or not, it doesn't have a number in it, but you know, it's part of a big franchise. Yeah, so they did the scanning and that's it. So we're wrapped by 11, which seems like it is a short day, but you don't get paid, you know. I mean, you get a standard day rate, and that's it. So I went, oh, that's a shame. That's a real shame, because my wife could have come, just hung about for a couple of hours, and we could have gone for a walk during the day, get ready to shoot tomorrow. I was looking forward to working with her tomorrow. And 5 minutes after I'd rung her to say I'm coming home early, and that's a real shame, I get emails from a different agency about tomorrow saying they've cancelled it. Literally like half a day before. And the union rule is that if they cancel it before midday, and they cancel just after 11, so about 11:15, 11:20. If they cancel before midday, then they don't have to pay you. If they cancel after midday, they have to pay you half a day's rate for loss of earnings. Half a day is not long enough to find alternative work. Is this fair? What are your thoughts? I know this is the industry. It's getting worse. It's almost every production I'm on. If you do not turn up to set when you are booked, you get blacklisted. It's a phrase that means they put a black mark through your name, like a line, and say don't book them, that unreliable. But it doesn't go the other way. Is that fair? Do we get a life? You know, giving away my whole weekend to shoot, and then, you know, you turn down friends, family for whatever they want, or other jobs. I was, again, this is the same topic. This is all in the last couple of days. Another agency has been consistently messaging me 3 times, day before yesterday, again last night. Can you do this police officer thing for 5 days? Because I've got my own police uniform. And that was starting today. And hi, rival player 2. Sorry to come in on a bit of a moan. Yeah, I'm a bit tired. I've only had 2 hours sleep. And that's 5 days work. And I had to turn it down because I was booked for today's work, which would never pay as much as 5 days. But now I've found out it's a short day. So I'm a bit disappointed. So I had to turn down this other job that would have been filming today. I would have had, well, more likely, because it's harder to get police officers or people with police kit. And the irony, that was closer to home, so I wouldn't have to keep driving and spending petrol. It was just around the corner. So is this, as an industry I've been attached to almost my whole life. I have done other jobs like care work and gardening, etc. Very, very, working class backgrounds. Even with a degree, that's the only sort of work you can get in New Zealand. But yeah, the film creative industries gave me a better option, a better route when I was younger, and I earned more money, even with acting. It's just weird. But it's hard to make this sustainable. Just looking at my car, I filmed my self-tape in my car, put film equipment in here, and I've damaged a bit of the interior, which is a bit disappointing, and dropped my phone when filming it. So scratched the mic, which is fine, it's still working, and the screen. So all this effort you put in, and you almost lose money on it, breaking stuff. All right, it's a thumbs up, thank you. Well, thanks for encouraging me. So yeah, so my wife wants to have a serious chat, because she gets disturbed with this. I understand this. She can't get a good night's sleep. She gets stressed about it. I'm getting up in the middle of the night, to do this. And I love it. I love the job. I don't like the unreliability. And I think there should be a two-way street where it's equal. If you cancel me, you pay. For my business, when I train, I don't give refunds if someone cancels the day before, because it's put me out of pocket. But isn't the film industry a business? So how can we change this? I'm being really serious here. How do we change this? It's to be a creative, you want to earn a living out of it and not be exploited as such. And I don't blame individual crew. I know a lot of them are lovely people. They also face the same thing. I've met crew on set, makeup, wardrobe. They face the same thing. So they're more likely to get work more often. Though having said that, these days I've met crew that haven't had work for 6-9 months, and they're very experienced and done all the high-end stuff. So how do we get around this? We need to create a sustainable industry. You imagine you've got kids, you've got a mortgage to pay. You want to, pay off student loans or debt from university. How are you going to do that on an industry that cancels very quickly? We talk about the industry here in the UK, talks about we need more diverse people in the industry, we need more working class people in the industry, but without changing the practices of how it runs, that will never happen. Because you need to be wealthy or have another job or not need the income to get into the industry. So until it changes fundamentally how it works, it doesn't matter how many targets you got. Oh, okay, hi Robbie. So Robbie's just asked, what are we talking about here? Sorry. It's in the description, but I mean, it's a bit vague. So we're talking about if you want to go work in the film TV industry in the UK, and you know, I don't know, I believe it's a bit like that in America, based on people I follow on Instagram. It can be a very unreliable industry. It's hard to earn a living out of it reliably. And in the UK, we have what we call diversity targets. So more minorities, more working class people, because the industry is very short of working class people. So it's more upper middle class or people with money who work in it. And that's based on evidence. So they keep the statistics. But how can you do that when it's not reliable work? So you have to have another source of income and then drop everything last minute to do the job. And then you can get cancelled last minute. So that's the summation. And so I'm summing up the last 2 days for me, and I've still got bills to pay as well. And I love the industry. I love the work I do. I'm trained in it. It's a great feeling to do something and do something successful. And I do get asked back. So you know, it's not to do with that. It's not because I can't do it. I wouldn't have survived so long without being able to do it. But I'm at the end of my career, and I do worry about young people as well trying to get in. I've trained young people myself. There's lots of courses about and programs to try and get more young people in the industry, but how are they going to survive it? Because they're paying off their student debts from universities and stuff. I don't get it. We need to change the structures, the power structures. Equip people to make their own stories rather than just do more IP stuff. You're 39. Local acting company. Great. This is what I want. Discussions, conversations. Hi, Robbie, 39. Just signed up to a local acting company. I'm green but enthusiastic. Great. You have to be. No expectations. Good. I can imagine it's a very difficult industry. Yes, it is. So I started when I was 23. So you can start any age, by the way. I was lucky or blessed. So I did a horticulture degree, and at the end of my degree found that there was no work in it. So it's not just the acting industry. In New Zealand, only way you could get sustainable work is you had to own your own farm. So I found it was just like basic wage, minimum wage, farming, being labourers on somebody else's farm. And there was very few jobs in management, and with a degree you spent, thankfully in my day you didn't pay for your degree, but you still had to pay for your living expenses and stuff and have no income for 4 years. I'm from a working class background, first person in my family to ever get a degree, and it's only because it was free, and I was forced to, but my family wanted me to get out of being working class. Okay, so that's quite a personal thing to share. And my final year I had to resit, and I did a optional paper in drama, first year drama, got an A in it, and then I jokingly said to the job centre I'd like to be an actor, and an audition came through their doors. It was the only audition they ever got through, and they knew I was the only person who ever said I was interested in being an actor from a traditionally horticulture university. We didn't really do much drama there. So, and so I went to the audition and got the part. It was a paid job. So I did improv comedy acting, theatre. I did that for 3 months until the company folded. And then off the back of that, got into drama school because somebody said, you should turn this into a career. You're really good. You're really funny. Go to drama school. And I was just shy and sort of, more used to talking to plants, but I went for it and did get work. But long term, it's not sustainable because the industry changes so dramatically. So I did have to have another job, and so I was a care worker. So I wiped bums for a living back then, minimum wage. But if I had to be, it was not a permanent care work, it was like emergency care work, so that's the worst of the worst. So you'd get rung up that morning, can you come in? And if I didn't have an audition that day, I'd go in. And you had, even in the old days, this is 20, 30 years ago, yeah, 30 years ago. So improv, yes. Um, Improv. Yeah, I'm thinking of going back to my roots, really, of going back to improv. In a sense, The Butler, which is, there is a bit of script in there, but some of that's improv. So the comedy, uh, 60-second commercial I did recently, I improv a bit of that. When I did the Punch and Judy Man for Sir Steve McQueen, the bit they chose that's kept in the film, I improved on the day. So I'm actually really proud of my improv background, and I think it's been a really, really good essential skill for me as an actor. It's not just about learning lines, and it's about being able to respond within the moment, without any notice, like in the immediate moment. It takes, some actors can't grip with it. I've met some actors who hate improv, and I think the thing with improv is very exposing. So you can't stand there thinking. You go with your gut instinct, and sometimes that can be wrong. Well, in a sense, yeah, there is wrong. I know some people say there's no right and wrong. There is, right? There are rules in improv. You don't block someone else. You don't abuse them. You don't make out it's all about you and no one else is important. So those things are wrong. Those are rules. You don't do that. It's about listening to other people, working together as a team, helping each other out, accepting ideas, working together on in the moments without communicating. You have to communicate through your body and your instinct. You can't say, oh, we're going to say this, and then you do it, which is a typical play would have rehearsals. In improv, the rehearsals are about gelling and bonding with each other, learning to communicate, and those sort of sensing when someone's in danger. And I've been in danger before when I did improv, because we used to tour around New Zealand. I've been assaulted when I was an improv actor by drunk punters. So at one point I played Manuel, and if you know the Fawlty Towers thing where they Basil pokes them in the eyes, a drunk punter literally did that to me. And unfortunately I was with an inexperienced actress, and I managed to hold the guy's hand back, and I had to still stay in character. I go, no, 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 Mr. Fawlty, I'm not going to do it now, I'm a bit old a bit. And so I was calling for Mr. Fawlty to come and help me. And don't mention Seavor. Seavor? Could you explain? So yeah, anyway, Polly says you can't manhandle the customers. And I was stopping this big rugby player farmer, from poking me in the eyes. And she pulled my hands, looking at me, not looking at him, my hands off the war. Oh yeah, don't mention the war. Yes, we didn't do that one. I was more doing the hamster thing. The rodent that was my hamster, scurrying under tables and stuff. Yeah, wouldn't be allowed to do that these days. But yeah, and so he literally jabbed me in the eyes with both fingers. So, she wasn't attuned to the fact, because I was actually looking at her going, no, don't do this, don't do this. But I didn't say it, but I was going, don't do this, and she still did it. So I couldn't perform for the rest of the night. So it can be dangerous, particularly live, upfront, close contact improv as an actor. So yeah, and that's not the first time I was assaulted as an actor, as doing improv. Particularly when people are drunk, and other punters. See, that's more New Zealand. I think that doesn't happen as much here in the UK. Yeah, the acting was so good she thought it was real. Yes, that has happened. That was the other time. I was almost shot once. Do you want to hear that story? Hi there. Hi, Care Harriman 7055. Yeah, I just graduated. No one else in my year at drama had ever acted professionally before, whereas I had. And yes, you do want to hear the story. Okay. So the other students, and this is a good idea, you should work with other students because you all know each other. And they thought I was really funny, and they wanted me to join them in something that a young lady my age, but young back then, Am I acting at the moment? Oh, this second I'm not, but yes, I'm still trying to make this a career or keep going as a career. It's hard to say. As I said, I had a audition tape I sent off yesterday. So if you rewind, you'll hear about that. So yes, I do have an agent. I do actually have an agent. But I'm considering whether I should go back to improv. But with this dinner theatre thing, murder mysteries. Have you ever done those murder mystery things where you go along and people are dressed up and you have to guess who is the killer, but it's live and actors are pretending that, say it was a Victorian murder mystery. So she had sorted out this Victorian murder mystery thing. And she thought it was a good idea to get me dressed up modern with a ski mask and a sawn-off shotgun to come in to scare the punters halfway through, so they thought it was a real robbery. Good. Well, this was scary, this story. You can tell her this. Always a dream. So Robbie's saying his missus loves the murder mystery stuff. And Karen is saying, always a dream of mine from school, but like so many dreams, never followed it. Sorry, I'm interrupting. No, that's cool. That's the whole point. I like conversing. So, so just recap the story for those who just tuned in. So this is when I first graduated in my 20s. And I was the only one who was experienced in paid improv. Everyone else had learned it at drama school, but I'd already done it before into drama school. But she'd set this up, and I wasn't part of setting it up. And I don't know why they didn't ask for advice or anything, but because I had been assaulted before I went to drama school, when I played Percy in Blackadder, and someone wanted to see if I was a real man, and they were drunk. So they decided to kick me there. So hopefully it's not putting you off improv, right? I just have a bad run. But that was Elizabethan Blackadder, Percy. Again, drunk farmers. Maybe it's putting you off going to New Zealand, who knows? Yes, yeah, it did hurt. The boot, it was from behind, I didn't even know it was coming, so it just skipped past the proverbial package, and I saw the foot come up in front of me from behind me. So maybe that's why I haven't been able to have kids. I don't know. Who knows? No, never asked the doctor. So anyway, so we're doing this murder mystery, and so turn up, sawn off. It was a real sawn-off shotgun, but had blanks. But it was a real gun. I was wearing jeans, hoodie, balaclava. I came in, shouted and swore, get everyone, get everything, blah, 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 on the ground. I can't remember if there was a blank in there I fired it off into the ceiling or not, or just threatened people with it. They were all dressed in Victorian period, and the young lady thought this would be really funny, a good twist on murder mystery. Did my thing. When you're an actor and you're doing improv, you have to commit to it. You have to be convincing. This is what brought this topic up. Convincing. Because if you're not convincing, what's the point? So I went backstage, was the kitchen area. I went backstage, and all the other actors who I graduated with would say, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" They said, "Are you okay? Do you need water or something?" And I said, "No, I shouted with my voice, but nothing particularly out of the ordinary." And they said, "You almost died." And I went, "What are you talking about?" Basically, the cook in the kitchen had not been warned, that I was going to do this, because everyone was dressed up in Victorian murder mystery, and he had a gun under the counter in the kitchen, and it had a servery hatch, and he'd been held up the week before, armed robbery at that restaurant, didn't want to happen twice, and so he'd bought a gun to protect himself, and no one had thought to warn the staff that I was going to come and doing that. Because I'm dressed in modern, I'm not dressed as Victorian. So he grabbed the gun out from underneath the servery hatch, was pointing it at my head when the other actors came in, saw him do that. I said, no, he's one of us, he's one of us. So I almost got shot in the head for doing improv work. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely shocking. So this is why it's dangerous work. You need to have a team you know they've got your back. Sadly, I mean, you think they'd learn from that, but they never did another one afterwards. I think they were so traumatized by that. Technically, it should be me that's traumatized by that. But yeah, they never did another one, and you should learn from these. You might have to rethink acting. Yeah, maybe do it on stage, not improv in live close contact. But yeah, it's a silly thing, and I guess people in their 20s, we all make mistakes, but that one's a life-threatening mistake. And that's even when you've been to drama school. When I teach, when I lecture, I base on my own experiences, and I have done improv more recently with inexperienced people, and there's things I just put my foot down and say, no, you can't do it that way, because it's dangerous what you're doing. You don't know the response you're going to get from the audience. You don't go in to deliberately provoke an audience, because you don't know their backstory. So in this situation, it wasn't even an audience member, it was the cook, and his backstory is he's traumatized by having a real armed hold-up a few days before. So you have to be really careful that you're not pushing too many buttons and what are other people's triggers, that because you're authentically doing something, it's believable, as you said. So it's a good testimony to my authenticity as an actor, but that can also be dangerous, which is partly also why I merged across to film TV, because it's safer, because crew know that you're playing a role. But even having said that, I've done roles on set for independent films, and people won't speak to me because I played a villain, and they said it was too real. And that's also why I gave up on acting when I met my wife in my 20s, because I was sick